Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you to the latest update from Socitm's PSN Solutions Advisory Group. Welcome to North Wales today. I just thought I'd give you a different look as opposed to looking at me straight away. It's just about stopped raining, but I'd like to talk to you about a few things today. We're going to go through updates on what's happening with PSN. I've been asked to focus and talk about what's going on with cybercrime, and also to give you an update on the cyber resilience agenda. So, we've been having a lot of discussion recently about the PSN, and basically now the PSN Code of Connection is now business as usual. There is a difference now in how the PSN Code of Connection is being assessed. It's now all about security outcomes, which is a far better way of doing it. That means basically that now there is no particular way of doing things. There are a number of security principles, and the idea is that they are all tracked on outcomes. So it's now very much up to you to say how you meet the guidance requirements to comply with the PSN. The PSN now, the compliance and assurance, is just concerned with the PSN network itself. The main components that are required are a very good network diagram, a very clearly marked IT health check scope, which includes internal credential checking. So that means that you must make sure that your IT health check provider is given full access to your network, so they don't just do a black box test on the outside, but they are actually testing your network, scanning your servers, your endpoint devices to make sure that you're fully compliant, properly patched. Do please bear in mind, this is not just about doing something to get a tick in the box for PSN. This is very much something you do for your organisation, for your own internal governance, to make sure that your network is safe and secure and isn't posing a threat to the rest of the PSN community. Finally, a clearly marked remedial action plan with clear dates. You will get a compliance certificate if you've managed to come up with good ways of doing things, show clear outcomes, and stick to a remedial action plan. But I would say to you that if you've put dates in that plan and you're going to deviate from them, do tell the PSN team. It's never too late to tell them that there's been a change, and it's never too early to put all your paperwork in. The PSN assessors would rather work with you than have surprises at the last moment. The government conveyancing contract framework, the GCF, that is now coming to an end. What that means is that all the services that you put together originally and paid for as part of GCSX and the PSN have now been unbundled. So you will find that you've now got a choice around things like your email and how you do that. There are some templates being produced which will show you how to implement secure email. Now, email itself has always been a messaging transaction-based thing that is really not meant for personal data. But there are ways to make email more secure using things like TLS certificates and posture checking. So some things are being developed at the moment. Those will be published shortly on gov.uk. The initial guidance is already published, so there are templates out there and architectures to help you come up with how you solve your secure email problems. But the GCSX mail, as it was, is coming to an end. Moving on, I get asked regularly, what is cybercrime? Well, cybercrime is nothing new. Cybercrime is basically normal crime that uses a computer. There's been a big increase recently on the amount of malware that's been sent out, and one of the biggest problems we're seeing at the moment is around something called ransomware. That's where malware gets on your system, it goes around, it self-propagates, and it encrypts your servers, and criminals then demand a ransom from you to give you the encryption keys, supposedly to unencrypt it. Personally, the advice would always be, don't contact the criminals, don't get in touch with them, don't pay the ransom. Because there is evidence, if you search around and look on the internet, of where the criminals have just passed your details on to another set of criminals 2 or 3 months later. It is a big problem. Cert UK have been doing a lot of work on it. This is what's happened recently to one of the big county councils. That's been all over the press. But what happened there is nothing special. That has happened in numerous other places. It's just that that particular incident has got into the news and people have jumped on it. But there is good guidance on CISP that I'll talk about in a minute, the Cert UK site, and any of these things should be reported. One thing to know about as well, to help with awareness raising, is something called Cyber Streetwise. Now, Cyber Streetwise is a Home Office sponsored initiative, and their website has got an awful lot of very, very useful information on how to protect yourself. There are also a number of videos that were produced by CPNI, the Centre for the Protection of National Infrastructure. They've got a YouTube channel. Those are all freely available as well, and that's worth having a look at. Earlier, well, last year now, DCLG produced a report around the cyber threat for local authorities. I would strongly commend that read to you. It's freely available on gov.uk. If you just type in DCLG Cyber Threat Report, you will find it, but there's some very good advice in there which reiterates and echoes all of this. What we are starting to see though is that some of the criminals are getting cleverer now, because they're not just attacking online, they are now following this up with phone calls. One particular attack vector that has grown quite a lot over the past few months are phishing emails being backed up with telephone calls, trying to get Director of Finances and purchasing officers to make unusual payments, or suppliers phoning up saying that their bank account details have changed, trying to get the finance department to change the bank details they hold on a supplier so that the payment gets made to the wrong bank account. So I'd really strongly urge you at the moment to be very vigilant about this type of technique, this social engineering. And really, a lot of it can be combated just by making sure you do proper internal awareness raising and internal training. I'd like to talk a little bit now about cyber resilience. DCLG have produced an excellent knowledge bank. That knowledge bank contains dozens of documents which support the DCLG Cyber Leadership Framework. And the Cyber Framework has been briefed out at a number of regional events that DCLG have been running around cyber resilience. And cyber resilience really is all about how to keep your organisation safe and resilient from cyber attack, but more importantly to know what to do if and when you get hit. Now, the Cyber Industry Security Partnership, CISP, the Cyber Industry Security Partnership, is an organisational portal which is run by Search UK, which is part of the Cabinet Office. On there is a very, very good guide on incident management. I really commend that to you. It's also worth noting that there is now a new CESG website. Over the past few years, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of issues with people not being able to get hold of all the proper guidance that they need to secure their infrastructure and to understand the government policies. Well, what's happened now is a complete sea change at official since the change in all of the marking scheme. All of the guidance you need is on gov.uk, but it's spread all over the place, all around various GDS blogs and things like that. But now, cesg.gov.uk has been completely revamped and has got all the guidance that you will need online and freely available. This includes some of the former GPG guidance, good practice guides, which were difficult to get before but are now fully available. It's also worth knowing about Cyber Essentials. The Cyber Essentials scheme that we have mentioned before is aimed at SMEs and suppliers, but it's a very good thing to put into your procurement requirements, especially for smaller organisations who need to have a level of assurance and confidence in their supply chain. There is Cyber Essentials, which is the basic version, which is a self-assessment. There is Cyber Essentials Plus, which is Cyber Essentials but with an on-site assessment carried out by an independent verifier. And at the moment, CESG and others are looking at an enhanced version of that, which may in time be very useful to support the PSN Code of Connection evidence. So that's Cyber Essentials. Again, 10 steps to cyber security. The document's been rewritten, republished last year. A very simple and easy to understand guide, which will take any organisation through the necessary points to protect themselves against cyber threats. There is also a website behind it which has got an awful lot of resources on it, so that's the 10 steps to cyber security. If you haven't already done so, do join the PSN Knowledge Hub. This is on khub.net. You go on now, khub.net/Socitm, sign up on Knowledge Hub. Under there is an open group for PSN advice. I've put a number of blog posts on there, including one very recently on mobile devices, bring your own devices, which supports the new CESG and CPNI guidance on passwords. That's another document. Sorry, I haven't got a post-it note for that, but password guidance has now been completely revamped, so you need to read it within the context of your own things. But if you go onto Knowledge Hub, it's completely open to everybody. On there is open discussion and guidance covering a whole range of these topics. Don't forget to join CISP, cisp.org.uk, cisp.org.uk. You'll need someone to sponsor you, so if you use my name, Mark Brett, Socitm or the NLA Walk, whichever organisation. But that gets you on there. Once you're on there, that is like getting you into the large shopping centre. You then need to go to the local authority node and join that inside. So this gets you into the hypermarket, but the local authority node is the shop you want to visit for all of the local authority guidance and information. And a number of the deliverables from CESG and is also on there, but also the stuff we've been doing with DCLG around cyber resilience. All of these outputs and things will be on the local authority node on CISP. A couple of other things to mention in passing. One is that Socitm Insight have just produced a new report. Ralph McNally and colleagues at Leeds have been working closely with HSCIC and Socitm Insight team to come up with guidance on the future of the IG toolkit and the integration between the N3 successor network and the PSN and all the code of connection and things. So that's worth having a look at. And finally, there is some new Data Protection Act guidance coming out from the EU at that level, and that will cover, there is some guidance out already on the replacement safe harbour agreement. But again, if you go onto the CISP node, the local authority node on CISP, that will take you through and explain what's going on, and there is a paper on there that I wrote with some personal pointers, open sourced, on what's happening with the Data Protection Act and Safe Harbour. So quite a lot going on, but there is a coherent picture. You know, these strands will continue to emerge and change, but as I've said, the PSN now, the Code of Connection is business as usual. There's nothing special anymore, but it's outcomes based. You must make sure that your IT health check has an internal scan as well, because otherwise you can't check your own credentials and patching on your servers. There's going to be a choice around secure email. Cybercrime, big initiatives going on. Cyber Streetwise, lots of information. It's not particularly special anything about cybercrime. It's just all the old types of crimes, scams, extraction of funds, criminals want your money, they want your information. But the DCLG threat report can really help you with that. Again, physical security, insider threats, things like that, the CP&I videos on YouTube. Don't forget to go on to Knowledge Hub, join the Socitm spaces, it's completely open, and join the PSN Solutions Advisory Group space. On the cyber resilience front, DCLG have been running a number of regional events. There's still a couple left to go. One in Nottingham has not happened yet, so you can still register on that. If you get in touch on Eventbrite, if you Google iNetwork, DCLG Cyber Resilience on Eventbrite, you'll find those. The places are free to attend. We've got the DCLG Cyber Knowledge Bank, the DCLG Cyber Leadership Framework. All of these things are on CISP. CISP has produced an excellent guide on incident management. There's a new CESG website with all the guidance now publicly published, including the new password guidance, which should help anybody around bring your own device and all of that sort of thing, and securing mobile devices. Cyber Essentials, work's being done on that with Cyber Essentials Plus. The main document on all of this is the 10 steps to cyber security. Please, if you haven't already done so, join CISP. Once you're on CISP, there's the local authority node. That is where all of these documents and future documents are going to get published. There's Data Protection Act guidance coming out, and there is already a note on the new Safe Harbour Agreement, and finally the Socitm Insight Report on the work that's been happening with HSCIC. I do hope you found this to be of interest. It's likely we will do another update video at some point. And as I say, the world is still very complex, but there is an awful lot of free advice out there. Everything I've told you about today, apart from the Insight Report, which is available to Insight subscribers, is free of charge. So, the rain hasn't improved, but I shall say goodbye from North Wales, and I'll catch you all online on CISP and on the Knowledge Hub. Thank you for listening.